The battle of the ancient gods, which lasted thousands of years, ended with the defeat of the Titans. They were sealed in the meteorite prison and buried in Mount Tartaros for thousands of years. Only Epirus Bow can break through the dungeon. It wasn't until tens of thousands of years later that the genocidal king Hyperion sought out the bow and arrows to free the Titans. After praying to the gods for help to no avail, he gave up his faith, assembled an army, occupied the temple, and looked for the Saint Phaedra. The Saint Phaedra had already foreseen the danger and led people to evacuate in advance. Hyperion ordered the army to flatten the surrounding towns to find the saint. The gods of Olympus watched the tragedy in the world, but remained indifferent, and the main god Zeus even put down his cruel words.
Or otherwise influence the affairs of mankind.
Zeus turned into an old man and trained Theseus to become the first human warrior. The fate of human beings can only be determined by themselves. But the flames of war swept Theseus' homeland. Seeing his mother captured, Theseus rushed to the enemy. The enemies were beheaded by Theseus one after another. Theseus was subdued by a large number of enemy troops. In order to let Theseus experience endless pain, Hyperion did not kill him, but sent Theseus to the salt mine as a slave. When the Saint Phaedra passed the salt mine, she accidentally touched Theseus. The Saint Phaedra predicted that Theseus held the Epirus Bow and became Hyperion's right hand man to conquer the world. In order to change the prophecy, the saints danced in the dark to lure the guards, and cooperated with the resting slaves to destroy them at full speed. With the help of the saint, they escaped. When they were about to snatch a ship, they were ambushed. While the gods stood by and watched, Poseidon rushed to the surface. The monstrous waves helped Theseus escape. According to the guidance of the saint, Theseus let go of the anger of revenge in his heart. Theseus returned home and buried his mother in the temple. Unexpectedly, the sarcophagus was stuck and Theseus broke the boulder next to it with a hammer, and a bow and arrow appeared inside. Theseus pulled the bow and arrows continuously, and the 4 light arrows rushed towards the cliff town, destroying the sneak attacking enemies. After a short rest, they embarked on the road of revenge. The Hyperion army stationed near the temple has disappeared at this moment. Suddenly there was a burst of mourning from the bottom of the mine, and Theseus and the others went down to investigate, and were ambushed, and even Epirus Bow was taken away by the hyena. Faced with several times the enemy, Ars came to help out, and the enemy was cut under the sword. Athena provided horses for Theseus and the others to rush to Mount Tartaros. Suddenly, Zeus descends and kills Ars, who disobeyed his laws. Everything in the future can only be done by Theseus himself at the foot of Mount Tartaros, where the armies of Hyperion are stationed. Theseus arrived in time to warn the Greek defenders. However, King Cassander believes that in the face of millions of troops, only a summation can avoid tragedy. However, Hyperion has no intention of living in peace at all. Hyperion, in order to destroy Theseus' plan. Hyperion rushed to win over King Cassander overnight, but Theseus cut off the chain and closed the gate and refused directly. Under the afterglow of the doomsday, an army of 1 million has been assembled. Hyperion pulled the bowstring, and a brilliant lightsaber rushed towards the gate. Millions of troops launched a charge, rushing towards the damaged city gate like a tide. The Greek defenders were so frightened that they dropped their helmets and armor and kept retreating. Theseus stood up, and he warned the defenders.
And I share your fear. They are cowards. They are human, and they bleed.
Inspired by Theseus, the fighting spirit of the soldiers was completely ignited. The soldiers picked up their weapons and rushed towards the enemy army led by Theseus. The narrow tunnel hindered the enemy's footsteps, and the two sides fought inseparably. Hyperion ascended the wall and shot an arrow through the top of the hill. The huge movement caught Theseus' attention, but by the time he arrived, it was too late. Hyperion looked at the Titans, pulled his bow, and shot an arrow, breaking the prison. The Titans came to the world again. Just when Theseus was desperate, Zeus led the gods to arrive in time.
Leave here. This is no longer your fight.
Facing this group of Titans, with low power and large numbers, the gods slaughtered them. Under the crushing of absolute power, the Titans fell in batches. With the shattering of the sky prison, more and more Titans poured out. The gods began to be powerless, and there were casualties. Theseus, who walked out of the cave, was attacked by Hyperion. The peak powerhouse among human beings also started a life and death duel. On the other side, the gods were completely destroyed by the tactics of the Titans, and Athena was not spared. The gods fell one after another, and Zeus broke the stone pillar supporting Mount Tartaros. Then Zeus took Athena to the sky. The Titans were completely buried by the collapsed Mount Tartaros. Hyperion's army was defeated in the face of flying sand and rocks. The duel between the two strong, human teams also ended with the defeat of Hyperion. When the city wall collapsed, Theseus turned into a golden light and ascended to the heavens, becoming a new generation of god of war.